Hello, everyone. It's Paul from Tuscan Tour Guide here. In desperate times, I guess it's time to polish up on things that haven't said or done or talked about in quite a while. And coming up in November, we have your wonderful tour at your castle with Janie. So I figured I start off with a couple of one of many, hopefully if it goes well, videos. Here we have the first one. We'll see how it goes. I have trial and error. It's one of the most beautiful paintings that we have at the Uffizi Gallery. It's huge. It's around 2 yards by 2 yards. And it was done in 1423 by Gentile da Fabriano. Now, Gentile wasn't from Florence or from Tuscany. He's from the actually opposite side of Italy. He moved along to Venice. And then in 1422, he ended up in Florence. Very well-known guy already. And Pallastrozzi hired him to make this private painting for their own private chapel in Santa Trinita. It was paid for with the family's money. He was a banker, probably one of the richest men, if not the richest man in Florence. The Medici's are rivals with them. Their Medici's are not as big or as rich as them yet. So we get this beautiful painting called the Adoration of the Magi. I'm going to zoom in just a little so that you get to see it. And let's see if I get right resolution here for you guys. Well, you get the main scene where Virgin Mary and Joseph, which is behind her in yellow, with the star above his head made out of solid gold, holding baby Jesus with the three Magi. Oldest going first, middle-aged guy about to take his hat off, about his crown off, about to go next, and the youngest one just waiting his turn because he knows he's going to be last. It's sort of like a cartoon. It doesn't look like much, but there's many, many scenes. There's a few up top. There's, let's see if we can get this done properly. All right, let me hold this here. So what we have first here, your eyes roll around the entire painting. It starts off with Angel Gabriel here, actually talking to Mary, the Virgin Mary who's over here. So that's the first scene, which is the Annunciation. But the Annunciation actually has a precedent, which is the Old Testament. Everything that was said and done in the Old Testament by the prophets. And that's these guys down here laying down with holding scrolls from the Old Testament. So you do have old and new coming together. In the middle, you have God uniting it all. And closest to Gabriel and the Virgin Mary and God, you have the seraphims. That's going to be another episode, hopefully, of the 9 hierarchies of angels, which I love. So we have your eyes were going at the top. Gabriel talking to Mary, telling her that she's going to be pregnant. And then your eyes physically have to come all the way down here to the Nativity. Now the Nativity is shown here. It's a beautiful Nativity scene. You have 2 sources of light. Jesus is actually one source of light, radiating light towards the house. You can see the shadow on the house here. And you have the angel coming to the shepherds up top. So 2 sources of light. Blue sky. Don't forget the blue sky. We'll talk about that shortly. And after the Nativity, what happens is your eyes have to figure out which scene is next, which is actually this one here. And these are the 3 Magi dressed in gold on top of a mountain, looking at a gold star on a gold sky. So obviously there's a lot of gold, 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 and we'll talk about that shortly. When they start following the star, they get on their horses, which is obviously not actual or factual, and they have a procession of all these people going up to a medieval town, but this is actually in the year 0. So they get to a medieval town, and they're getting to Jerusalem right now. Got a little problem because the star made a mistake. The star went to Jerusalem, and they knock on Herod's door. That's where the star stopped. Where's the new king, is their question. His answer is, I'm the king. Hello, it's me. And they say, nah, there's somebody else in town, new kid. So Herod sends them along their way, getting a little paranoid, massacre the innocent. So all the kids under 2 get killed in Judea. So at that point, the 3 kings continue their journey. That's where you have to come back to the painting and follow them here, going to Bethlehem. The procession ends where they are right now. Well, we know that 40 days after this, we have the presentation to the temple. That's where Mary gets cleansed. And the last thing that happens in this painting is actually down in the center down here, which is this beautiful, huge scene here, which is the flight into Egypt. We have a solid, literally solid 3D gold star, not star, sun, with orange trees. Orange trees are huge indications of wealth back then. And we have Joseph leading Mary and Jesus to Egypt. It's a wonderful scene as well. But besides the scene that we all know from the Bible, which is kind of simple, what you start needing to do is breaking it down and understanding why the painting becomes really neat. So let's see what we got. We have lots of gold up top, lots of gold in the skies. Actually, all the skies in the background are gold here. But in the predella, and a predella are small scenes underneath the main painting that tie into the main painting. So the predella has all blue skies. Now, this was done in 1423, as I mentioned before. And in 1423, beginning of the Renaissance, there's money coming into play. And all this money is coming into town because we have banks and we have people wearing clothes. There's a lot of industries going on in Florence. And if you could afford to wear colorful clothes and really intricate clothes, weaved clothes, you do, just like we do today, even though black is fashionable. But nevertheless, let's take a look at the three kings. The three kings here are not dressed like those poor three kings that the Bible tells us about. They have gold weaved into their garments. They have crowns that are made out of gold. They just got off their horses, which have lots of gold. And we have a servant down here, or a thief, we don't know if it's a servant or a thief, removing the spurs of the youngest of the three Magi. The spurs, when we get to this, hopefully we get to this painting in November, we'll see that the spurs are 3D gold. Actually, they come out of the painting about a quarter inch. Same thing goes for the dog's necklace. That is he's a little ticked off. I mean, I guess you could see why. The horse just kicked him or is about to kick him. There's a lot of movement going on here. We have a leopard that doesn't belong. We have a monkey, actually two monkeys that don't belong. We also have a falconer. And the falconer here is actually Pallastrozzi's father. Pallastrozzi is the guy who paid for it, and Pallastrozzi is the gentleman wearing the red hat. And the one next to him is his father, and being that was a falconer. Falconer, pretty much, you're raising birds to catch other animals. And that's what they did. And that's because Strozzi, their last name, Strozzi, means falconer in Italian. So their symbol was going around with a falcon practically, or telling you this is what we do for a living, because it associates with our last name. It's pretty neat. There's a lot more to understand and see, but the youngest Magi has his gift in his hand. He's holding it with his thumb and fingers. And we have the middle-aged one that has his gift in his hand as well while he's removing his crown. And the old man has his crown on the floor, because he removed that out of due respect to baby Jesus. And his gift, most people don't end up finding his gift or seeing his gift, but these two ladies back here have him. And these two ladies are obviously dressed. They're contemporaries of the painter. So this is what they used to wear during the time of this painting, which is kind of strange. It's like somebody painting Mary, Joseph, and Jesus today, and they're holding cell phones in their hands and wearing jeans and sunglasses. So it was kind of strange to see all that happening there. Nevertheless, baby Jesus is blessing the oldest of the Magi, and they're doing what they really shouldn't be doing. They're checking out the gift. So what I'm trying to get at is your eyes. Don't forget, this is 2 yards by 2 yards. So your eyes have to go everywhere. They start off with Gabriel. They go to Mary. It comes down to the Nativity. It goes to the three Magi on the mountain. Then it goes to Jerusalem. Then it goes to Bethlehem. Then it comes down to the main scene. Then you got to come back down here to the presentation of the temple. And then the flight into Egypt. Your eyes are rolling everywhere. While they're rolling, you're finding all these strange animals and these horses and the dog that's just gotten kicked. And the three Magi, one removing his crown, one kneeling, one getting blessed, the girl checking out the gift that she wasn't supposed to. You have so much going on in the midst of this painting. Your eyes can't stop. Your eyes can't stop moving. This may seem normal to you. It's like a cartoon. It's like a comic book. You have to figure out which scene comes first, second, or third. Ultimately, back in the day, in the 1400s, this was a new thing. Not only the painter, Gentile da Fabriano, starts incorporating gold underneath the colors. So instead of painting on wood, as this was, he's laying gold And on top of the gold, he's laying very, very thin layers of paint. And unfortunately, we lose it because of all of our modern light. But at candlelight, you actually get to see some sparks and sparkling underneath the colors. This was in a private chapel, as I told you before, in the Church of Santa Trinita, not far from the Ponte Vecchio. And it was a dark atmosphere. It was a private atmosphere. And at that point, whatever candlelight was there was supposed to help you go and look at it. And when when the church was open, which wasn't all the time, people were invited to go look at it. Actually, the painting itself invited you to go look at it because it was so busy that you wanted to go understand what was going on. And it's not the simple painting of just the Madonna and child as we usually see. So here's a detail of the thief or the servant. Take it as you will. This is perspective not done properly. You can say he looks like a hunch. He's got a hunched back, and that back obviously wasn't done properly. Gentile da Fabriano, one of the best painters in Italy at the time, however, not perfecting the perspective of it. There's the father, and there's Palastrazzi holding the falcon, and here's the handle that protrudes just like the sun on the opposite side of the painting. Let's see what else we got here. That's it. Here are the three kings ending up in Jerusalem. One last thing I want to just point out, and then we'll continue the next one with about the seven angels. We got an arch here, a complete arch in the building. And we have a complete arch over here as well. And arches are complete. Arches are complete. Arches are complete. It's a good thing. Life is complete. But life is only complete with our Savior. So being that the time before the year zero is incomplete due to the lack of our Messiah, well, what you have is a broken arch here, or two broken arches. Hundreds of medieval and Renaissance paintings have this concept continuing over, and you see it over and over and over. An incomplete arch, an incomplete building, a broken down building is an incomplete time of our lives because the Messiah is not there yet. So as you can see, the painting is pretty straightforward. You do have the Adoration of the Magi. You have three kings coming to baby Jesus. But it's so busy and so elaborate. And the technique that was used was so new with the candlelight and the gold underneath the colors. New guy, not from Florence. Who the heck is this guy? Being paid a lot of money by one of the richest guys in Florence. Pretty awesome painting. I hope that we have enough time on our tours in November to cover it. This is actually not one of the ones that we usually cover because it's off on a whim in the Uffizi Gallery. So if we have time and you guys would like to see it, please ask. If you have any questions, please comment down below in the page that we have here with the Tuscany members for November. And I hope everybody's doing well. All the best. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.